What's the word? I've been wanting to do a video like this for a long time, and it's just basically dissecting a part of drifting that most people don't even see. It's the burnout box, and basically we get 25 seconds in Formula Drift to warm up our tires, front and rear. And I think it's a common misconception that we just do burnouts in it. There's actually the least amount of what's going on is burnouts. There's a lot of understeering, which will allow the front tires to warm up because we need that, because the rears are going to be warm pretty much immediately when we start drift. But the fronts, as we're driving down the front straightaway, sometimes will get pretty cool because there's a lot of air flowing over them. A lot of our cars are really wide, so the front tires are sticking out. And there's a different process pretty much that for each type of burnout, each type of car, each type of grip level. As the car gets really hooked up, you'll see more understeering and less burnout. Some tires require a lot of heat, so you'll see lots of burnout. Some don't, you'll see very little burnout. Sometimes it's the first lap or the second lap on those tires, so the amount of burnout will be different. And some people just steer the car through it. Some people use a handbrake. But yeah, we're gonna jump in. I'm gonna show you guys and kind of voice over exactly what's happening. You can also learn a lot about a car's setup in the burnout box, so I'm excited to show you guys.
Okay, first off we have myself, and you'll see I go in with some understeer to warm up the fronts. And if you watch your rear tires, I do a slight little handbrake to rotate the car, and then I'm not using a lot of throttle here. And what I'm doing is getting the core of the tire up to temp without burning a lot of tire off. You'll notice I don't really have any smoke, and I'm just doing this repetitive understeer, handbrake, pick up the throttle, and I'm actually getting in the rhythm and putting the car exactly where I want it to, and you'll see a little zinger burnout on the way out. Next we have Mike Power. He comes in understeer with a handbrake again as well, so very similar. Low throttle too. Oh, little missed the handbrake there. This is actually a really small area, so it's tough to do that. Again, same thing. Big understeer, light off, low RPM, and then big flick here now. So now he's going to get some heat in the tires. It looks like, yep, big burnout, big flick, understeer, and on power. So warming up fronts and rears at the same time. It's a little tricky. But he got most of those done pretty well there. This car looks sweet too. Big burnout at the end, getting lots of heat in the tire. I prefer not to do that because it goes through a lot of tire, but some tires need to get really hot. Okay, Jeff Jones up next. He does a little bit of an understeer. Both directions here, so warming them both up. And then a handbrake rotation to get it around. Okay, both directions. So a little bit different than previous. Again, low wheel speed. Looks like he's just trying to get some heat into the core of the tire at this point. Left and right. And then that's it, going in. And worth noting that might be his second lap on those tires too. Here comes Adam. Handbrake in, counter steered, throttle. A little bit more wheel speed and car speed than I do. So you'll see him kind of big understeer, handbrake, rotate, counter steer on throttle. Another one, very consistent. Again, he's probably using this to hit his marks and get his brain ready for when he goes out on track, similar to what I'm doing. More understeer, a little bit of throttle, and then rolls right out. Here comes Thorne. He comes in, handbrake, lots of handbrake speed there. He's a road racer, so he's really pushing it through here pretty fast. This is the fastest one I've seen in terms of speed throughout the burnout box. Doing some understeer, four-wheel slides to get the tires warmed up. Again, kind of similar to what we saw with ours, but just to leave a little bit more speed. Lots of count, almost gets the wall. So he's got a lot of precision in here. Now he's getting the car flicked and not using the handbrake, and a big burnout on the way out. Here comes Forsberg. Understeer to handbrake, it looks like. Little handbrake. So he's flicking the car with the understeer, so it looks like he has a lot more front grip than a lot of us other cars do. You'll see the car even walking backwards, noticing that front wheel kind of spinning backwards because he's basically rotating the car into the pocket and letting the car naturally kind of roll itself back. He does grab the handbrake a few times, and I think that's just to make sure he gets the car set, because obviously the handbrake does flat spot the tires and make a hot spot. Okay, here comes Mohan, and he is doing full flick, no handbrake, big rotation, so understeer into oversteer, getting RPM up, probably warming his motor up a little bit, but probably in first gear, so he's not burning a lot of tire. You don't see a lot of smoke. Obviously, this thing sounds sweet. Big flicks and catching it with the front end. So lots of front grip on that car. You can kind of tell by the burnout box. Here comes Gucci, also doing the understeer. Just kidding. We're going to Dean. Dean's doing big understeer flick going through there. So again, more like Forsberg style. Look, not using the handbrake, just flicking it in to get the rotation done, keeping the speed up. Oh, big flick now, counter steered, getting some wheel speed in, getting some smoke going. Really, like, got almost like the sideshow whip game on that. So a lot more wheel speed than myself and Adam, but not a big burnout at the end, so consistent all the way through. Next up, we have Holovnia, and I think I pronounced that right. He's understeer with a good flick. Looks like the car, again, has lots of front grip. If you watch it kind of stall out, slow down, and pivot around the front, so you can kind of see what their setup's like here. Not a lot of wheel speed. Oh, now he's getting a lot of wheel speed going. Got the turbo on the pipe, and he's exiting. So probably second run there. Didn't need as big of a burnout to burn off the original. We got Hole here, too. Understeer in, lots of understeer. Again, really technical in this little box. I know it sounds silly, but these cars really are tough to get through the box. So lots of burnout there. Counter steer, big flick. So he's scrubbing the fronts, but more focused on getting heat in the rears. So big whipping burnouts there. Okay, now we got Robbins in the Z doing some understeers. Again, similar to Jeff in the Z as well, kind of doing these double understeers. Oh, now he's back to just one here. Good amount of throttle commitment through there, flicking, not using the handbrake at all, which, again, this is kind of a tough thing to do, and you can only really do it if you have enough front grip. So kind of watching his rear tires are spinning consistently the whole time. He's making a lot of smoke, big burnouts. So his tire might want a lot more heat than the other ones, or maybe this is him trying different temperature rear tire throughout the track. So big burnout on the exit. Now we got Stuckey. He's going to throw it in, handbrake, get the car to rotate. Looks like this is his second lap on those tires too. Didn't look like it needed very much heat to get lots of grip in the car. Car looks really hooked up in the burnout box. If you notice, when he goes to whip it around and he picks up the throttle, it basically stops rotating like that, and grip drives throughout it. So lots of grip in that car. Again, understeering to warm up the front tires and picking the throttle up, light amount of drift and light amount of wheel speed. So, all right, here comes Reeder. Looks like he's pivoting the car around. Good amount of wheel speed, probably second gear, mid RPM, so you can get some more heat in the tires. Again, quick little understeer, not big one, but lots more rear wheel spin than normal. Little backwards front wheel roll there because he's not using the handbrake. He's doing a really good job without locking up the brakes in the back. So this is a really good example of a good front scrub and rear burnout right here. If you notice, his front scrub is just about perfect. The last one here, it looks like maybe he's going to exit, but all the other ones, the timing of it was fantastic.
So obviously lots of different burnouts, lots of different things, just kind of sharing what each driver does differently than the other ones with this goofy angle here. It's really funny. And just giving you guys an insight on what happens, just because it's something that doesn't really get shown a lot. We talk about it. I think it's just a burnout because it's called a burnout box, but it's more of like a tire and car warm-up box. Either way, now you'll know what everybody's doing when they're in the burnout box for 25 seconds.